I went to my doctor and just said, Doc, I'm angry all the time. I'm fucking sick of being angry all the time. And it was here, try some Prozac. I'm like, no, I'm not depressed. I'm not whatever. Oh no, this can work for that too. And that just started a whole nother slippery slope of
side effects on that shit is
SSRIs and benzos.
This is gonna hurt. It's time for the Suffering Podcast.
Domestics.
Domestic
A lot
violence.
of domestic violence, yeah.
Motor vehicle accidents.
My absolute, and still to this day, my least favorite time of year is football season. When the Vikings and the Packers,
Go Pack, go.
yeah, when they both had noon games and they weren't playing each other and they both lost, it was just by 6 p.m. it was domestic after domestic after domestic.
Your football team loses, no better thing to go beat the shit out of your wife.
Beating each other up with cheese heads.
Yeah. He hit me in the head with a wheel of Gouda. But, crime is crime. And there are some serious calls out there.
Well, domestic violence is the worst call a cop could go to anyway. More cops are killed on domestic violence calls than anything else.
That was my call. It was a domestic violence call. Did you see anything hairy in those early years?
A lot of suicides. A lot of chapters, we call it, or a chapter 51. We got to take someone who's suicidal or homicidal to the hospital. We had our fair share of murders. It wasn't often, and we had our fair share of shootings. It seemed like every 3 to 5 years we were having a officer-involved shooting with either our department or a local municipality within our county.
So did that stuff start to weigh on you a little bit? And you have an addictive personality, as you said before. How did you deal with it?
It did. It didn't. It really, I don't think it started to hit me until 2010, after I was a full-time employee.
You didn't know it was hitting you until 2010.
Yeah, I didn't know.
But it was hitting you the whole time. It was just like we say, filling that glass. You kept filling it and filling it.
And, something, not to backtrack, but the first time we talked, Kevin, I remember telling you, because a lot of the podcasts I heard you say, cops become alcoholics. Alcoholics don't become cops.
Well, I did. I wish I could take credit for it. You know who told me that is our Dr. Stefanelli. He told me that. And, even when I was in rehab, they had this program called Cops and Bottles. And I learned that it was drilled into our heads. And that's the truth. When's the last drunk you saw that became a cop? It happens. Yeah, it happens.
That's what I was going to get to. Yeah, you visited the Midwest. We have such an unhealthy relationship with alcohol. I know, and my wife would tell you, I was absolutely full-blown alcoholic by the time
Because outside of Brooklyn Park, which is just west of Minneapolis, St. Paul, there is fucking nothing out there.
Cow tipping.
You go over like a slight undulation in the road, and you see Dorothy's house flying in a tornado like 15 miles away.
And a girl clicking her heels on the side of the road.
I remember, so I drove from Minneapolis, I drove from the border of Wisconsin out to Bismarck, North Dakota.
Awful drive.
Oh my God. I don't know how I didn't fall asleep on the road. There is not a turn in that road. It's dead straight and nothing.
Is there any undulations in that road?
Undulations.
Same thing, whatever the hell you said. I'm still, I got the phlebotomy look on my face when you said that.
That's a big word for Mike.
I know. Yeah.
Can any of us spell it?
Well, it's funny.
Kevin can.
It's funny you bring that up. So we have you in here to talk about the suffering of psychedelics. And I was explaining to Mike DePalma who you were and what you were coming in for. And I said, like ibogaine and ayahuasca. And I said, yeah, it's right near the phlebotomist in the dictionary. So exactly, I said that to him, didn't I? But what was your drink of choice?
Beer. It's Wisconsin. It starts with beer, and then whiskey, and eventually, when you're trying to hide it, it's vodka.
See, I can even smell vodka.
Oh, yeah.
I think basically because I got so drunk on vodka when I was 16 that I can.
Vodka smells like nail polish remover.
I never drank it again after 16. Never. 16. I got so drunk on vodka that I don't remember. I closed my eyes, I opened them, it was dark. That's all I remember.
Yeah, that was Jack Daniels for me.
Oof, man.
Jack Daniels is fighting words.
Well, that's Wild Turkey. Wild Turkey's the worst stuff. So you were drinking heavy before you got that job, or were you just throwing them back with your friends?
No, it was binge drinking. It was definitely, I always said drinking to not feel my face. It was.
What's the amounts? Talk to me about the amounts.
There's no amounts. It's just until you pass out.
Really?
Yeah, that was
or
just
run out.
Well, what was your tolerance?
at the end or the start.
The
I mean, the
start.
start. You drink a 6-pack. The first time I ever.
No. Like when you're sheriff's deputy and you're binge drinking. How many in a night? Average.
You drink a 5th of vodka, easy. You'd be down for a day, but back at it in a day or two.
Do you ever drink so much your liver hurts?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Feels
I
like you
drank
got-
so much my life insurance policy went up.
you feel like you got mule kicked right in the gut here. It's like right, and you know exactly where it is. He's like right here. It's just pain going on. But how did anybody identify this? Especially when you were a police officer. Did anybody say, "Hey, dude, what are you doing?"
No, family saw it for sure.
Well, how did your behavior change?
They just saw that, my wife just saw the drinking. Mom and dad, because the wife would tell them, they'd see it. Never an intervention or anything like that. As far as work, it was just normal. That's what we did. You'd finish your shift and you'd go out with the crew, or your days off was your rotation partners. You all went out drinking to blow off steam, and it was drink until you blacked out. Or
I just think that's the most unhealthy atmosphere to surround yourself with. And I see police do it all the time. They don't associate with anybody else besides police because part of them, they know that nobody understands what they see. But, it's like a constant one-upsmanship.
And now it's that peer pressure also.
You're drinking. I'm not going to be the only sober asshole
If
around.
your
here.
whole squad's going out and they're going to be drinking, and you say, "No, I'm not going to go,"
You're gonna be
they're
talked
going to
about.
talk about you the
then
whole night.
it turns into a trust issue too.
yeah.
They don't.
Yeah.
He doesn't drink. We don't trust him.
Yeah.
Well,
It's almost like it's forced upon you.
Yeah.
so you start going down this road, this ugly road. What's something that's what do you think the worst occurrences of you being blackout drunk? Did you ever do anything foolish, stupid, something that could have come back and bit you in the ass?
I wake up naked a lot of places, wondering if
That's what. And now you understand why you didn't get into the military. Yeah.
we'll get to the event that ended my career. That was probably the worst of it. Yeah.
What is it about alcohol that makes you take your damn clothes off?
Yeah, it's unbelievable, isn't it?
Because that's happened to me several times. Yeah.
But it's funny. Alcohol will make you take your clothes off, but you go out and you get drunk. You wake up the next morning and you're still in your same clothes, laying in your own bed. If you make it home, you're generally sleeping in your clothes. But if you're somewhere else, you're naked.
I never understood that because I see it, especially with the friends that I hang around. They hit it pretty hard, and somebody's always getting naked. I'm like, dude, put that 1/4-inch killer away, man. I don't want to see that shit. So
Put the snub nose away.
did you ever drink on the job, especially in the beginning?
No, not in. You showed up hungover, absolutely. But
Reeking from the last night.
Yeah, absolutely. And but no, never drink on the job.
But that changed, right? Drinking on the job.
No, never drank on the job. I think I would have
Yeah.
if it. Wow.
If you can go into a liquor store in uniform and get something.
Oh, absolutely. I've picked up perps, and we're not going to jail, and you've arrested somebody 10 times. You get to know each other, and you got to give them a ride home. Hey, here's $20. Go in and get me a bottle so I don't have to stop on the way home. Absolutely.
Wow. That's a lot of trust into somebody that you've just picked up.
After my incident, when I finally crashed and burned, the very first people that called and said, "Hey, are you okay?" was people I've arrested.
So you start going down, it's escalating. You're drinking. Keeps going, and keeps going. How did it start affecting your home life?
You're not present. It's such an unhealthy coping mechanism.
Even when
that-
you're present, you're not present.
Yeah, you're just not there. You're checked out. I don't know how to explain it. you're either so shit-faced you're checked out, or you're recovering from the night before and you're checked out.
And what's your family saying to you at this point?
Several times where the wife either was going to leave, or you need to stop, or I'm going to leave, or slow down. But also kind of didn't encourage it, but kind of enabled it in a way.
I'm so grateful the fact that my wife didn't really see how much I was drinking, because I'm a really good actor. Okay, I like Academy Award winning actor when it comes to that stuff. I had bottles in strategic locations to go get them. And that's the mark of a true alcoholic, right? So you don't want anybody to see. So you'll always keep a full bottle of liquor. There's always one full bottle of liquor.
Look, I didn't have any yet.
I didn't have any yet. Meanwhile, there's 15 other bottles hidden throughout the house where they're almost empty or empty. And then you got to figure out how to get rid of the evidence.
Yeah.
What lengths did you go to hide it?
I never hid it. It was always just in the freezer. I was too lazy to hide it. And,
It's like, fuck it. The van's going down the hill now. I'm like, no brakes. Might as well not steer.
Yeah.
So what happened? You had a come to Jesus moment, and it was you had an incident happen.
Yeah, there was a little more build up to it. I worked 3 years as a part-time deputy, and I eventually took a full-time position as a jailer. And again, that was another stepping stone. My ultimate goal was to get to patrol. I worked in the jail for 3 years, and you could feel that anger and that rage, just that whatever PTS or whatever building. But I didn't recognize it. I didn't know what it was. I just kept drinking.
It's easier to drink it away.
Yeah, and eventually the wife would give an ultimatum, and you got to slow down, you got to quit, whatever. Which was hard because socially, everything we did, we had horses and had friends that we trail rode with and did those camping and things like that. And it all involved drinking. You'd ride a couple hours to the bar, blackout. The horse knows the way home. No.
You never see any. You never see
Horse
any
knows the way
DUIs
home.
on horses.
Yeah. No, should have. So
Yeah, I
eventually,
pulled you over because your horse was swerving.
in one of those periods, I went to my doctor and just said, "Doc, I'm angry all the time. I'm fucking sick of being angry all the time." And it was, "Here, try some Prozac." I'm like, "No, I'm not depressed. I'm not whatever." "Oh no, this can work for that too." And that just started a whole nother slippery slope of
Side effects on that shit is
yeah,
awful.
SSRIs and benzos, and then
Well, benzos are if you're a true alcoholic, you love benzos
oh yeah, it was fantastic.
because you take a couple benzos, whether it's Klonopin or something else, and all of a sudden your alcohol bill just drops.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, and I honestly, I think I probably gave it up for a little bit here and there because you had easy access to that stuff, or having back pain issues or whatever, where it was easy to get opiates. That was another issue. So I went full time with patrol. I got out of the jail and became a patrol deputy in 2011, and that's where things really started to spiral out of control. Especially 2012. 2012 was the worst year of my career, where it just was some suicides and just awful murders. And I think that when I think back with the clarity now, it was that year that kind of broke me. And I dove headfirst into whatever I could do to get away from it, whether it was the alcohol or whatever pills I could get my hands on. I never doctor shop, but I go back and pill shop like, "Hey doc, this isn't working. What's next? This isn't working. What's next?"
At any point during this time in your life, did you think I can quit whenever I want? I can get rid of this. I can drop it. I'm bigger than this.
Or did you
absolutely.
even want to quit?
Never wanted to quit because
You don't want to be a quitter.
and just an angrier person without it. It was to get to the incident that was this October of 2016. I don't know if you remember the Dakota Access Pipeline protests that were going on
Yes.
in North Dakota. So it was a very small sheriff's office in Mandan, North Dakota, where the protests were going on, and they put out a nationwide call out, said, "Hey, we'll take any cops we can get. We'll pay your overtime, we'll pay your fuel, all of it. Just send whoever you can send." And our sheriff's office sent 4 of us. I was a canine handler at the time, And so that was kind of like a plus. They're like, oh yeah, send that guy up. And all I saw was the dollar signs because it was going to be, $4 or $5 grand in overtime. And we're like, shit, yeah, let's go.
You can rewire the pipeline also.
Heck yeah. So at that, just previous to that, a few days, I had gone into my doc pill shopping again, and he had put me on Seroquel. And I think the first time I took it was the night of the incident. I took a Seroquel, and I was drinking in the hotel bar. We were staying at a.
By the way, for somebody who has a problem with alcohol, to go to a place where you're in an away game
and you have all that downtime.
Oh my!
Meeting new people.
God,
how do you meet new people and socialize?
Bar.
Yeah, exactly.
We got there on a Sunday, and they had an entire room. They had an entire conference room set up, beer on ice, the Packer game on the big screen. Thank you guys so much for coming because it was us, other local sheriff's office. I can't remember how many state troopers, like 30, 40 state troopers.
This is a powder keg.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then of course it was the big speech, guys don't do anything stupid. And
yeah.
to backtrack a little, I've always from the first day on the job, I watched somebody either in our department or within our county fuck up so epically that they either suicided, they lost their career, they went to prison, and it was like clockwork every 6 months to a year. And eventually you start, at first you're like, well, I'm never going to be that asshole. They're a dumbass. That's never going to be me. And then I started thinking there's not that many assholes working here. Like something else is going on.
When there's no more assholes, then you start looking in the mirror.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So eventually I was that guy. We were there until a Wednesday night, and my partner and I, who was from my sheriff's office, were partnered up. We were done with our shift for the day. I bought a bottle at the time. For me, it was vodka Red Bull, and we drank in the hotel room until it was time to go to dinner, and then it was White Russians and more vodka Red Bull at the hotel bar, who was notoriously known for mixing their drinks hot, which, from Wisconsin, you don't mix your drinks hot. And, but it was also the day I was supposed to start the Seroquel, and it was just instantaneous blackout from the medication. I woke up at about 2 a.m. in Bismarck PD holding. No idea what had gone on.
And they say, you were drunk, don't you know?
Yeah.
Don't you know?
Over
First
the
time
years,
I heard that, I shit myself. It was so funny.
over the years, bits and pieces of it has come back. And I remember I went outside to let my canine partner, it was time, we were going to go to bed, and went to let him out, go to the bathroom. I broke my hotel key somehow, got locked out of the hotel, and it was a snowstorm going on. It was cold, and I was in a T-shirt, and was in my civilian clothes, and I had my squad car keys, and my cell phone. Crawled in the squad car, started it, turned the heat on, and I start calling my partner, hey, come down, let me in. And I eventually just passed out with the car running. And somebody had walked by, just a civilian, knocked on the window, and I remember chatting with them a little bit. There was something about he had it was a Native American guy, and he had like a pot leaf sweater on, and I was joking with him about that. And he said something about, I don't have any money. And I said, I'll buy your sweater off you, $50, meet you at the ATM. And I must have driven around in the parking lot to the front of the building. And that's where I passed out. And he went over to the gas station and called the cops and said, hey, there's a fight going on at the bar, to get the cops to show up and find me, is what I've been told.
Yeah.
And that's where I was found, passed out in the parking lot.
So now you're sitting in a holding cell.
Out of state.
Oof. Far, listen, that's
With a dog.
Yeah.
You got to be saying, oh shit, I fucked up.
Yeah, I've never seen the, there's squad car footage and whatnot, but I guess there was a lot of.
You got to Oprah that. That's part of your story.
Yeah.
Yeah, you got to see that stuff, and it's hard. It's going to be hard to watch.
I don't know. I don't know that anybody at Bismarck PD will talk to me. I remember the officer who arrested me, and tried to reach out to her before, emailed her, after years later with the clarity, and tried to tell her, thank you. You saved my life. It must have been hard to do what you did, but ultimately saved my life.
She's mad at you?
Were you like verbally abusive or?
No, I think it just was probably hard for her, arresting another cop. And what's that? I don't know the culture of their PD. What's that look like for them? Did she get shit from her?
Yeah.
But you're also in an
coworkers
age, 2016, the atmosphere amongst police changed a little bit. You remember when you first got on, and this happened frequently around here. You pull over some guy who's on the job, and they had a couple drinks. Hey, your car's smoking. And listen, at that point, they write their own ticket. If they know they're caught, and you're telling them their car's smoking, or park your car over here, I'll give you a ride home. And I did that plenty of times.
Your keys will be at the desk.
Yeah, I did it plenty of times. But as things moved on, and MVRs came in the car and body cams, that stuff's no more. You can't do that stuff anymore, and nor should we do it. Because if that were to happen to you, that woman, as difficult of a situation as that was, if that hadn't happened to you, you'd probably find another way, where you could either hurt yourself or somebody else. How many times did you drive a little lit?
Oh, at home, absolutely, yeah. Yeah.
Right. So that's, you're put in a certain situation that you're supposed to be in, even though it hurts. And that one hurt. So what's the aftermath of this? Your department obviously finds out.
Yeah, I basically was, I feel like I was terminated immediately. I was put on leave.
Well, are you a union state or are you right to work state?
Yeah, we're a really, really weak union. They're terrible. WPPA. I don't want to shit talk them too much, but they don't do anything for anybody.
So that's I don't think that would ever happen in this area. You would be put on administrative leave pending investigation, stuff like that.
Exactly.
Not terminated immediately.
I was put on leave for several months, and I didn't read between the lines enough. I had a great sheriff at the time. We butted heads at the time over it, but he kept telling me, take as much time as you need, wink, wink, like get yourself into a rehab program, take as much time as you need. And it wouldn't have mattered if it would have been 6 months. I probably would have still stayed on paid leave. We're local to Hazleton. It's one of the best treatment facilities in the nation. I had intake interviews with them, and they said, well, you're not an inpatient candidate. You're definitely an outpatient candidate, because as much as I was drinking, it wasn't enough to have DTs or anything when I quit.
So after the incident, did you continue drinking?
No, that was it. That was it.
So
that was ultimatum from the wife that you never drink again.
So October of 2016 was your last drink?
Yeah, I tried about a year or two after that. I bought a bottle and thought, all right, I'm going to try it. And I made a drink and I took a sip, and I'm like, I actually cried a little bit, because I'm like, this isn't going to do it anymore.
Well, that's good, because usually first time you last like 4 months. That's what I've seen. Somebody who's, we all been to that point where you say, I'm never drinking again. You last like 4 months. You're like, I got this beat. And next thing you know, you're back on.
I had
a
help.
bunch of guys who say they're never drinking again and wait until like the following Thursday.
Yeah.
That was when I cranked it up with the pills.
Oh.
So it kind of replaced it.
I was going to say it was a replacement therapy.
Yeah.
So what's the final straw with everything? With the pills, obviously the drinking's done, but now you got the pill problem.
Yeah. So
Starting to sound like a country western song, bro.
the final straw was